The alarm sound filled the command center of the human fleet headquarters. Admiral Hyun-woo put down his coffee cup and looked at the red lights flashing on his control board. Something was wrong in the outer colonies. "Sir, we have an emergency. Signal coming from New Busan colony," said Lieutenant Taeho. His voice was worried. "The signal is very weak and breaking up." Hyun-woo walked quickly to the main screen. The image showed space where New Busan should be. But instead of the bright lights of the mining colony, there was only darkness and small pieces of metal floating in space. "Play the message," Hyun-woo ordered. The speakers made crackling sounds. Then a woman's voice came through, full of fear. "This is New Busan colony calling for help. Large ships are attacking us. They are not human ships. They are taking our people. Please send help. The defense stations are gone. We are hiding in the underground areas, but they are coming. Please." The message stopped. Only static noise came from the speakers. "When did we receive this?" Hyun-woo asked. 2 hours ago, sir. We tried to contact them again but got no answer," Taeho replied. Hyun-woo felt a cold feeling in his stomach. New Busan was home to 50,000 people. Families lived there. Children played in the colony parks. Now they were all in danger. "Get Captain Bo-ra on the comm. Tell her to take the Soul's Pride to New Busan immediately. She needs to see what happened there." "Yes, sir." 3 hours later, Captain Bo-ra stood on the bridge of her ship as it came out of faster-than-light travel. What she saw made her heart stop. Where New Busan colony should have been, there was only broken metal and dead bodies floating in space. "My God," whispered her second officer, Commander Jin-ho. "What did this?" Bo-ra looked at the destruction through her ship's cameras. The mining stations that used to orbit the planet were now just scrap metal. The defense platforms that protected the colony were completely destroyed. But the planet itself was still there. Something was still happening on the surface. Jin-ho scanned the planet. "Look for life signs," Bo-ra ordered. "Scanning now, Captain." Jin-ho worked at his control panel. "I'm getting some human life signs from underground areas, but there are also other signals, much larger signals." Bo-ra looked at the main screen. Slowly, shapes began to appear around the planet. They were ships, but not like any human ships she had ever seen. These ships looked like they were alive. They had a dark red color and seemed to pulse like a heartbeat. They were huge, much bigger than any human ship. "How many ships are there?" Bo-ra asked. 15 large ships, Captain. Each one is about 3 times the size of our biggest battleship." Bo-ra felt fear grow in her chest. Who were these aliens? And what did they want with humans? Try to listen to their communications. Maybe we can learn something about them. Jin-ho worked at his station for several minutes. Then his face became pale. "Captain, I'm picking up their radio signals. They're talking to each other. Can you understand what they're saying?" "The computer is translating their language. Captain, you need to hear this." Jin-ho played the alien voices through the speakers. The translation appeared on the screen as they listened. "The harvest continues well. These soft creatures put up little fight. How many specimens have we collected?" "Nearly 3,000 so far. Their technology is weak. Their weapons cannot harm our ships." "Good. The masters will be pleased. These humans will serve well in the work camps." Bo-ra felt sick. These aliens were taking humans as slaves. She had to do something, but her single ship could not fight. 15 alien vessels. "Are there any other human signals in the area?" she asked. "Wait, Captain. I'm getting a transmission from the planet's surface. It's very weak, but it's definitely human." The speakers crackled and then a new voice came through. This time it was a man. "This is Engineer So-young speaking from Emergency Shelter Number 7. If anyone can hear this, we need help. The aliens have taken most of our people. About 200 of us are hiding in the deep mining tunnels. But they are looking for us. They have machines that can dig through rock. We don't have much time." Bo-ra grabbed the microphone. "So-young, this is Captain Bo-ra of the human fleet ship Soul's Pride. We received your distress call. How long can you hold out?" "Captain, thank God someone heard us. We have food and water for maybe 2 days. But the aliens are getting closer. They took my wife and children. They took everyone who couldn't make it to the shelters in time. So-young, listen to me carefully. Stay hidden. Help is coming. We're going to get you out of there. Hurry, Captain. These things, they're not just taking our resources, they're taking our people for something terrible. The transmission ended. Bora stood in silence for a moment. She had to get back to fleet headquarters and report what she had found. But she also had to help the people still alive on New Busan. Jinho, can we get close to the planet without the aliens seeing us? Maybe, Captain. These alien ships seem to be focused on the surface. If we stay behind the moon, we might be able to launch a small rescue shuttle. Do it. Take a team of Marines and try to reach the survivors. I'll take the ship back to headquarters to get help. But, Captain, if those alien ships detect us, that's a risk we have to take. Those people down there are counting on us. Bora watched as Jinho prepared for the rescue mission. She knew it was dangerous, but they could not leave the survivors to die. While Jinho got ready, Bora studied the alien ships more carefully. The computer had been recording everything about them. The ships did not look like they were built in factories. They looked like they had grown like plants or animals. The hull metal seemed to move slightly as if it was alive. Captain, I'm reading some strange energy patterns from those ships, said her science officer, Lieutenant Wu Jin. What kind of patterns? It looks like they're draining energy from the planet itself. They're not just mining the minerals. They're taking the planet's power. Bora realized that these aliens were much more dangerous than she had first thought. They did not just want to rob human colonies. They wanted to drain them completely. Wu Jin, record everything about these ships, how they move, what weapons they have, how their energy systems work. Fleet headquarters will need all this information. Already doing it, Captain. 2 hours later, Jinho returned with his rescue team and 37 survivors from the planet. They were scared and hurt, but they were alive. So Young was with them. Captain, we have to go back for the others, So Young said as soon as he came on board. There are more people hiding in other tunnels. The aliens haven't found them all yet. I'm sorry, So Young, we can't risk it. My ship alone cannot fight those alien vessels. But I promise you, we will come back with a full fleet and rescue everyone. We can. So Young's face showed pain and anger. You don't understand, Captain. These aliens, they call themselves the Vectar. The survivors told me what they saw. The Vectar don't just kill people, they change them. They turn humans into something else, something that serves them. Bora felt a chill run down her back. What do you mean? Some people who got captured earlier were brought back to help with the invasion, but they weren't human anymore. They looked human, but their eyes were different. They moved differently. They helped the aliens find the hidden shelters. This was worse than Bora had imagined. The Vectar were not just taking slaves. They were turning humans into weapons against their own people. Captain, we need to leave now, said Jinho from his station. One of the alien ships is moving in our direction. Bora looked at the main screen. One of the huge alien vessels was turning toward them. Even from far away, she could see weapons on its hull beginning to glow with red light. Get us out of here. Maximum speed. The Soul's Pride jumped into faster-than-light travel, just as red beams of energy shot through the space where they had been. During the long trip back to fleet headquarters, Bora studied all the information they had gathered. About the Vectar, these aliens had technology that was very advanced. Their ships could absorb energy and use it against their enemies. They had weapons that could drain power from other ships. Most frightening of all, they could change humans into something that served them. So Young spent the trip telling Bora everything he knew about the attack. They came without warning, he said. Our defense systems couldn't stop them. Every time we fired our energy weapons at their ships, the ships just absorbed the energy and became stronger. What about physical weapons, missiles or railguns? We only had a few of those. The ones we did fire seemed to damage them, but we didn't have enough. Bora made notes about everything So Young told her. This information might save lives when the human fleet returned to fight the Vectar. When the Soul's Pride finally arrived at fleet headquarters, Bora immediately went to see Admiral Hyun Woo. She told him everything about the Vectar ships, their weapons, and what they were doing to human prisoners. How many ships did you count? Hyun Woo asked. 15 large vessels at New Busan. But sir, I think there are more of them out there. The survivors said they heard the aliens talking about other targets, other human colonies. Hyunwoo stood up and walked to the large star map on his wall. Red dots marked all the human colonies in the outer systems. If the Vectar were attacking multiple colonies, hundreds of thousands of human lives were at risk. Bora, I want you to debrief with our intelligence officers. Tell them. Admiral Hyunwoo stood in the large meeting room, looking at the holographic display showing the human fleet. Ship captains from across human space had come to the emergency meeting. The room was filled with the best military minds humanity had to offer. Ladies and gentlemen, we face a new enemy, Hyunwoo began. The Vectar have attacked New Busan colony and taken thousands of our people as prisoners. Captain Bora will brief you on what we know about their capabilities. Bora stood up and activated the display. Images of the alien ships appeared in the air above the table. The Vectar ships are unlike anything we've seen before. They appear to be biomechanical, part machine and part living creature. Most importantly, they can absorb energy weapons and use that energy against us. Captain Acha of the battleship Incheon Thunder raised her hand. What about kinetic weapons? Did they test those? The survivors said that missiles and railguns did damage the alien ships, but New Busan only had a few of those weapons. Most of their defenses were energy-based. Chief Engineer Dong Min stood up from his seat. He was an older man with gray hair and hands that showed years of working with machinery. Admiral, if I may speak? Go ahead, Dong Min. I've been listening to this briefing, and I think these aliens made a big mistake when they chose to attack humans. What do you mean? Dong Min smiled. Every other species in the galaxy has moved to energy weapons because they're clean and efficient. But humans never completely gave up kinetic weapons. We still love our railguns, our missiles, our good old-fashioned explosives. Lieutenant Wu Jin, who commanded a fighter squadron, nodded. My fighters still carry autocannons alongside energy weapons. Most alien species think we're primitive for using ballistic weapons. Exactly, Dongmin said. While other species evolved beyond physical weapons, we perfected them. Our railguns can fire projectiles at 3% of light speed. Our missiles carry warheads that can crack moons in half. And most importantly, none of these weapons depend on the kind of energy systems these aliens can drain. Admiral Hyunwoo felt a spark of hope. You're saying our primitive weapons might be exactly what we need? More than that, sir. I'm saying these aliens have never faced an enemy that still uses kinetic weapons. They've probably conquered dozens of species that relied entirely on energy weapons, but they've never fought humans. Dr. Mi Kyung, the fleet's lead scientist, activated her datapad. I've been analyzing the recordings from New Busan. The Vectar ships have energy absorption fields around them, but I don't see any special armor for stopping physical projectiles. What does that mean in simple terms? Asked Captain Taeho. It means their ships are designed to catch energy beams and redirect them, but a chunk of tungsten moving at incredible speed will just punch right through their hull. The room became excited. Officers began talking among themselves about weapons and tactics. Admiral Hyunwoo could see hope returning to their faces. Dongmin, what ships do we have that are equipped for kinetic warfare? Dongmin activated the fleet display. Almost all of them, sir. The Incheon Thunder has 12 railgun batteries and can carry 500 missiles. The destroyer Mokpo Shadow has torpedo launchers and stealth capabilities. Our fighter squadrons all carry physical weapons. Captain Acha leaned forward. Admiral, my ship was designed for kinetic warfare. We have tungsten core penetrator rounds that can go through almost any armor. If these aliens have never faced weapons like this, they won't know how to defend against them. Hyunwoo finished. Lieutenant Wu Jin raised his hand. Sir, there's another advantage. My fighters don't depend on main power systems. They're designed to operate even during electronic warfare attacks. If the aliens try to drain our ship's power, the fighters can still attack. Dr. Mi Kyung nodded. That's a crucial point. Human military design has always included redundancy. We build backup systems for our backup systems. Even if the aliens disable our main weapons, we have secondary and tertiary weapon systems. Dongmin walked to the display and pointed at the human ship designs. Look at our ships compared to other species. We build them thick and heavy. Other species make elegant ships that depend on energy shields. Our ships are designed to take hits and keep fighting. What about our larger ships? Asked Admiral Hyunwoo. The dreadnought Busan Revenge carries the heaviest kinetic weapons in the fleet. It has railguns that can fire projectiles the size of small buildings. If we can get close enough to the alien fleet. Captain Bora stood up again. There's something else. The survivors mentioned that physical damage to the alien ships seemed to cause them serious problems. When our few kinetic weapons hit them, they didn't just take damage. They seemed to lose coordination. What do you mean? Dr. Mi-kyung asked. The alien ships are partially biological. If you wound a living creature, it doesn't just lose armor. It loses function, pain, shock, loss of coordination. These ships might have the same weaknesses. The room fell quiet as everyone considered this information. They were talking about fighting living ships with weapons designed to kill machines. Engineer Dongmin began sketching on his datapad. If the ships are partially alive, then certain types of damage will be especially effective. Explosive decompression, for example. Punch a hole in something that breathes, and it has a very bad day. Can we modify our weapons for maximum effectiveness? Hyunwoo asked. Absolutely, sir. We can load our missiles with cluster munitions designed to create multiple hull breaches. Our railguns can fire special rounds that fragment inside the target. And we have something that no other species uses anymore. What's that? Nuclear weapons. The room became very quiet. Nuclear weapons were considered barbaric by most galactic civilizations. Humans still built them, but rarely used them. The aliens' energy absorption might actually make nuclear weapons more effective. Dr. Mi-kyung said slowly. They'll try to absorb the energy from the explosion, but the radiation and physical blast wave will still hit them. Captain H.S. smiled grimly. My ship carries 6 nuclear torpedoes. We call them planet crackers. How long would it take to prepare the fleet for kinetic warfare? Hyunwoo asked. Dongmin checked his calculations. Most ships are already equipped. We'd need maybe 6 hours to load specialized ammunition and run system checks. The real question is, how do we get close enough to use these weapons effectively? Captain Taeho of the stealth ship Mokpo Shadow spoke up. Sir, I can take my ship ahead of the main fleet. We're designed for reconnaissance and infiltration. I can map their positions and find the best attack approach. That's extremely dangerous, Taeho. Yes, sir. But someone needs to get close to them before the main attack. We need to know exactly where they are and what they're doing. Lieutenant, Wu Jin raised his hand again. Admiral, I'd like to request permission to modify my fighters for this mission. What kind of modifications? Strip out all energy weapons and energy shields. Replace them with more kinetic weapons and armor. Make them completely immune to energy. Draining attacks. Dr. Mi-kyung looked excited. That's brilliant. Fighters that can't be disabled by energy weapons. They'd be like arrows shot from a bow. Once launched, nothing could stop them. Engineer Dongmin was making more calculations. We could do the same thing with missiles. Build them with no electronic systems that can be drained. Just simple mechanical systems and big warheads. Admiral Hyunwoo felt excitement building in his chest. For the first time since the attack on New Busan, he believed they could win. Gentlemen and ladies, we're going to give these aliens a lesson in human warfare. They think they understand us because they've conquered other species. But they've never fought humans. Captain Bora stood up. Sir, there's one more thing. The survivors are willing to help. Engineer So Young knows the layout of New Busan colony. He can guide rescue teams to the hidden survivors. And we will rescue them. All of them. But first, we're going to show the Vectar what happens when they threaten human families. The meeting continued for several more hours as they planned every detail of the attack. Ship assignments, weapon loads, rescue operations, and backup plans. But the core strategy was simple. Hit the aliens with weapons they had never faced before. Thank. The meeting ended. Dongmin approached Admiral Hyunwoo privately. Sir, there's something else you should know. What is it? These aliens made a mistake beyond just picking the wrong enemy. They attacked a mining colony. I don't understand. New Busan mines heavy metals. Tungsten, depleted uranium, compressed titanium, all the materials we use for armor-piercing rounds. If we can retake the colony, We'll have enough ammunition to fight a war that lasts for years. Hyunwoo smiled. So not only did they pick a fight with the wrong species, they picked a fight at the wrong place. Yes, sir. They're sitting on top of the largest ammunition supply in human space, and they don't even know it. As the officers left to prepare their ships, Admiral Hyunwoo looked at the star map one more time. The red dot marking New Busan seemed to pulse like a heartbeat. Soon the human fleet would return there, but this time they would bring weapons the Vectar had never imagined. The aliens thought they understood warfare because they had conquered energy-based civilizations. They were about to learn that humans had spent thousands of years perfecting the art of throwing rocks very, very fast. And when humans threw rocks in the command chamber of the massive Vectar flagship, Overlord Kethmore studied the holographic displays showing his fleet's progress. The biomechanical walls around him pulsed with a slow, steady rhythm that matched his own heartbeat. 15. Great ships hung in space around the human colony world, their living hulls feeding on the planet's energy. Kethmore was proud of his conquest. The humans had fallen just like all the others. Their energy weapons had been useless against Vectar biotechnology. Their defensive shields had been drained and absorbed. In less than a day, they had captured thousands of specimens for the work camps. Overlord, we have detected movement in the outer system, reported Intelligence Officer Vortek. His voice came through the ship's organic communication system, which carried thoughts as well as words. What kind of movement? Kethmore asked, his attention still focused on the harvest operations below. A small human vessel approached the system several hours ago. It observed our operations and then fled. Our ships pursued, but it escaped into faster than light travel. Kethmore made a dismissive gesture with one of his forearms. Irrelevant. Let them run home and tell their leaders what they have seen. Fear will make the next conquest easier. Yes, Overlord. But our analysis of their ship's capabilities shows some concerning details. Explain. Vortek activated a display, showing the recorded encounter. The human ship used primitive kinetic weapons during its escape. Solid projectile weapons, Overlord. Kethmore's large black eyes focused on the display. In thousands of years, the Vectar had conquered 67 different species. All of them had used energy weapons. Energy was clean, efficient, and could be redirected or absorbed by Vectar biotechnology. But kinetic weapons were different. How effective were these primitive weapons? Kethmore asked. They caused some damage to Ship Commander Rathkole's vessel. Minor hull penetration and temporary system disruption. Minor damage only. This confirms that humans are a primitive species. They still use crude physical weapons because they have not evolved beyond them. Battlemaster Zekron joined the conversation from his position near the tactical displays. Overlord, perhaps we should adjust our strategy. If they rely on kinetic weapons... No adjustment is necessary, Kethmore interrupted. We have conquered species with kinetic weapons before. The Malari used projectile weapons 500 years ago. We absorbed their energy systems and defeated them easily. But Overlord, the Malari were a young species. The humans have had time to develop their kinetic technology. It does not matter how advanced their rocks and metal projectiles are, Battlemaster. Kinetic weapons are limited by physics. They cannot adapt during battle like our bioships can. They cannot drain our energy like our weapons drain theirs. Vortek shifted uncomfortably. Overlord, our cultural analysis suggests that humans are unusually persistent and creative in warfare. They might present unexpected challenges. Kethmore made a sound that was the Vectar equivalent of laughter. Vortek, you worry too much. Look at how easily we conquered this colony. Their defensive stations were destroyed in minutes. Their energy shields lasted only seconds against our drain beams. This is how all human colonies will fall. The intelligence officer activated another display. Our intercepted communications suggest they are gathering a fleet to retaliate. Good. Let them come to us. We will destroy their fleet and harvest their crews. The masters always need more workers for the deep projects. Battlemaster Zekron studied the tactical information. How large a fleet do you estimate they can assemble? Our scouts report they have perhaps 50 capital ships in this region of space, crude vessels made of metal and ceramic. No bio-enhancement, no living systems. They are like dead things floating in space. 50 ships could present a challenge, even to our fleet. Zekron, you disappoint me. 15 Vectar vessels have never lost to 50 primitive ships. Our biotechnology adapts to any threat. Our drain weapons disable any energy system. What can their dead metal ships do against living Vectar vessels? The conversation was interrupted by communications specialist Nethura. Overlord, we are receiving surrender negotiations from the human government. Excellent. Display their message. A hologram appeared showing a human official in military uniform. The translation system converted his words into Vectar language. This is Admiral Hyun Woo of the Human Defense Fleet. We demand the immediate release of all prisoners taken from New Busan Colony. In exchange, we offer to discuss terms for peaceful coexistence. Kethmore's multiple eyes gleamed with amusement. They offer to negotiate after we have already conquered their world. Record my response. The communication system activated. Human. Admiral, I am Overlord Kethmore of the Vectar Empire. Your people are now property of the Empire. They will serve in our work camps until they die. If you attempt to interfere, we will harvest every human colony in this sector. We cannot allow that, came the human's reply. We are prepared to fight for our people. Then come and fight, human. Bring your dead metal ships and your primitive weapons. We will show you what happens when an inferior species challenges the Vectar Empire. The communication ended. Kethmore turned to his officers with satisfaction. Prepare the fleet for battle. When the humans arrive, we will make their defeat spectacular. Other species will hear of it and surrender rather than face the same fate. Battlemaster Zekron began organizing the fleet positions. Overlord, shall we use standard energy drain formation? Yes. Position our ships to create overlapping drain fields. When their ships arrive, we will pull the energy from their systems before they can fire a shot. Then we will take their crews alive for processing. Vortek was studying the intelligence reports. Overlord, there is something unusual about human military doctrine. What do you mean? Most species we have conquered had elegant military strategies. Clean, efficient attacks using energy weapons. But humans seem to prefer overwhelming force. Explain this overwhelming force. They build redundant weapon systems. They carry far more ammunition than necessary. They design their ships to continue fighting even after major damage. It is wasteful and inefficient, but what? But it might make them harder to disable than other species. Kethmore considered this information. Vortek, you are thinking like prey instead of like a predator. Yes, humans might take more effort to defeat than some species. But effort is not the same as impossibility. Our bioships have defeated everything the galaxy has thrown at them. Of course, Overlord. I was merely noting tactical details for the coming battle. The coming slaughter, you mean? Postguards around the prisoner camps, when we defeat their fleet. The surviving humans will see their own people being held captive. It will break their will to fight. Ship Commander Rathcole reported from his vessel. Overlord, the energy harvest from the planet is proceeding well. We have drained their power grid and are now extracting geothermal energy directly from the planet's core. Excellent. How long until the planet is fully drained? Perhaps 6 more days, Overlord. After that, the planet will be a dead rock. Perfect timing. We will defeat the human fleet and then complete the harvest. 2 victories with 1 operation. While the Vectar prepared their trap, they continued monitoring human communications. The intercepted messages revealed details about the approaching fleet that filled them with confidence. Overlord, the humans are bringing exactly the ships we expected, reported Vortek. Battleships, destroyers, cruisers, and fighter squadrons, all using conventional human technology. No surprises then. What about their weapons? The usual human mix of energy weapons and kinetic weapons. Nothing we have not encountered before. Battlemaster Zekron activated the tactical display. I recommend we focus our drain weapons on their largest ships first. Once we disable their battleships, the smaller vessels will surrender or flee. Agreed, but leave some of their ships intact. We need specimens to study human biology more carefully. Overlord, shall we attempt to communicate with them during the battle? Asked Nathara. Yes. When their weapons fail and their ships are dead in space, offer them the chance to surrender. Some species choose slavery over death. It saves us the trouble of hunting down survivors. Vortek was reviewing the latest intelligence reports. Overlord, there is one detail that puzzles me. What is it? The humans are not requesting assistance from other species. Most civilizations call for help when facing an unknown enemy. But the humans seem confident they can handle this alone. Because they are too primitive to understand how outmatched they are. They have not faced vector biotechnology before. They think their crude weapons and metal ships can compete with living vessels that adapt and evolve during battle. Perhaps, Overlord. Or perhaps they know something we do not. Kethmore fixed his gaze on the intelligence officer. Vortek, your caution is becoming tiresome. The humans are primitives with primitive technology. They will fall like all the others. Yes, Overlord. I apologize for my concerns. Focus your energy on planning the disposition of prisoners and resources after our victory. That is more useful than worrying about enemies who have already lost. As the Vectar fleet prepared for battle, they arranged themselves in the formation that had brought them victory for 1,000 years. Energy drain fields overlapped to create zones. The human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the New Busan system. Admiral Hyun-woo stood on the bridge of his flagship, the battleship Soul Warrior, and looked at the tactical display showing 15 massive alien ships surrounding the colony world. All ships report ready for combat, Admiral, reported Communications Officer Ji-hoon. Range to target? Hyun-woo asked. 18 million kilometers and closing. The alien ships have detected us and are moving into battle formation. Hyun-woo activated the fleet communication system. All ships, this is Admiral Hyun-woo. The aliens took our people. They think we're weak because we still use kinetic weapons. Today we show them that sometimes the old ways are the best ways. Weapons free. Make every shot count. Across the human fleet, weapons officers began final preparations. On the battleship Incheon Thunder, Captain A. Cha watched her crew load tungsten core penetrator rounds into the railgun batteries. Each round was the size of a telephone pole and would travel at 3% of light speed. Railgun batteries report ready, Captain, said her weapons officer. Good. Target the largest alien ship. When we fire, I want to put a hole through it big enough to fly a shuttle through. On the stealth destroyer Mokpo Shadow, Captain Taeho checked his ship's missile load. 240 nuclear-tipped torpedoes filled his launch tubes. Stealth systems at maximum. They can't see us coming. Lieutenant Wu Jin prepared his fighter squadron for launch. Each fighter had been stripped of energy weapons and loaded with autocannons and rockets. Remember, fly fast and hit hard. These aliens have never fought fighters that can't be disabled by energy drains. In the engineering sections of every ship, Chief Engineer Dong Min's modifications showed their worth. Backup mechanical systems stood ready to take over if the aliens tried to drain their main power. Redundant weapon systems waited in case the primary guns failed. On the alien flagship, Overlord Kethmore watched the approaching human fleet with satisfaction. They have brought 53 ships against our 15. They still do not understand that numbers mean nothing against superior technology. Overlord, they are maintaining their approach speed. No attempt to communicate or surrender, reported Vortek. Let them come closer. We want them inside our energy drain field before we strike. Battlemaster Zekron monitored the biomechanical systems of the fleet. All ships report optimal condition. Living hulls are reinforced. Drain weapons are at full charge. Excellent. Begin energy drain sequence when they reach 10 million kilometers. The distance between the fleets closed rapidly. At 12 million kilometers, the Vectar ships began to glow with red energy as they prepared their signature attack. Admiral, the alien ships are charging some kind of energy weapon, reported Sensor Officer Min Jun. Range to target, 11 million kilometers. All ships, prepare for energy attack. Switch to mechanical backup systems if your main power fails. At 10 million kilometers, the Vectar fleet unleashed their energy drain attack. Invisible beams reached out across space, designed to pull the power from every human ship. For a moment, lights dimmed throughout the human fleet as energy was drained from their systems. But then the backup systems kicked in. Mechanical controls replaced electronic ones. Hydraulic systems took over from electric motors. The humans had built their ships to fight even when their main power was gone. Damage report, Hyunwoo called. All ships reporting successful transition to backup power. Weapon systems are operational. We're still in the fight, Admiral. On the alien flagship, confusion spread through the command center. Overlord, the energy drain was successful, but the human ships are still maneuvering. Their weapons are still active. How is this possible? Kethmore demanded. They appear to have backup systems that do not depend on the energy we drained. It does not matter. Close to combat range and use our bioweapons. But Admiral Hyunwoo had no intention of letting the aliens get closer. All ships open fire. Show them what kinetic weapons can do. The first salvo came from Captain H's battleship. 12 railgun batteries fired simultaneously, sending tungsten penetrator rounds screaming across space at incredible velocity. The rounds covered the distance in seconds, striking the largest Vectar ship before it could react. The biomechanical hull, designed to absorb and redirect energy, had no defense against solid projectiles moving at near light speed. The tungsten rounds punched completely through the ship, creating massive holes that vented atmosphere and biofluids into space. Direct hits on the alien flagship, shouted Minjun. The target is venting atmosphere and appears to be losing power. But that was only the beginning. Captain Taeho's stealth destroyer launched its entire missile load at once. 240 nuclear-tipped torpedoes streaked toward the alien fleet, invisible to their sensors until the final seconds. The Vectar tried to use their energy drain, weapons to disable the incoming missiles, but the missiles had no electronic systems to drain. They were simple mechanical devices with nuclear warheads and impact fuses. The first nuclear explosions lit up space like new stars. Vectar ships that had been designed to absorb energy found themselves overwhelmed by the radiation and blast waves. Biomechanical systems that could adapt to laser beams could not adapt to nuclear fire. Multiple nuclear detonations throughout the enemy fleet, reported Minjun. 4 alien ships are showing severe damage. Lieutenant Wu Jin's fighter squadron swept through the chaos, their autocannons firing streams of depleted uranium rounds. The fighters were too small and fast for the big alien ships to target effectively, and their ballistic weapons tore through biomechanical hull plating that had never been designed to stop physical projectiles. This is Red Squadron Leader, Wu Jin reported over the comm. Enemy ships have no point defense against kinetic weapons. We're carving them up. The human fleet continued their devastating assault. Ship after ship fired railgun salvos, missile barrages, and torpedo spreads. Every weapon was kinetic, every shot was designed to punch holes in things, and the Vectar had no defense against them. On the alien flagship, alarms screamed through the biomechanical corridors. Overlord Kethmore stared at the tactical display in horror as his fleet was systematically destroyed. Damage report, he demanded. 7 ships destroyed, 6 ships heavily damaged, 2 ships attempting to withdraw. Vortek reported, his voice filled with shock. How are they doing this? Their weapons are primitive. Overlord, their kinetic weapons are far more advanced than we anticipated. They are using projectiles that travel at significant fractions of light speed. Our biohulls cannot regenerate fast enough to seal the damage. Battlemaster Zekron was coordinating damage control efforts, but the situation was hopeless. Overlord, our energy absorption systems are useless against their weapons. Our adaptive biotechnology requires time to evolve defenses, but their weapons destroy us too quickly. Return fire. Use our bioweapons. We are trying, Overlord, but they are maintaining range. Our weapons cannot reach them before their projectiles reach us. Admiral Hyunwoo watched the destruction of the alien fleet with grim satisfaction. In less than a minute, the Vectar had gone from confident predators to desperate survivors. Admiral, 3 alien ships are attempting to retreat, reported Ji-hoon. Don't let them escape. All ships, pursue and destroy. We can't let them report back to their empire about our capabilities. The human fleet split up to hunt down the fleeing aliens. The damaged Vectar ships, their biohulls leaking atmosphere and power, could not escape the pursuing human vessels. Captain HFY's railguns finished off 2 fleeing ships with precise long-range shots. Captain Tejo's remaining missiles destroyed the 3rd. In 63 seconds, the entire Vectar fleet had been eliminated. All enemy ships destroyed, Admiral, reported Min Jun. No survivors detected. Hyunwoo activated the fleet communication system. All ships, excellent work. Begin rescue operations immediately. There are still humans alive on that planet, and we're going to get them back. As the human fleet moved toward New Busan, Captain Bora took her ship down to the planet's surface. Engineer So Young guided her to the hidden shelters where survivors still waited. This is Captain Bora calling all survivors. The alien fleet is destroyed. Human forces are here to rescue you. Come out when you see our shuttles. From deep underground tunnels, frightened voices responded. Captain, this is Shelter 7. We're still here. Thank God you came back. We told you we would. Prepare for immediate evacuation. As rescue shuttles landed on the planet's surface, the survivors emerged from their hiding places. They had been terrified, hungry, and desperate, but they had survived because they trusted that other humans would come for them. So Young was among the first to reach the surface. He looked up at the human ships in orbit and felt tears on his face. You did it. You actually defeated them. Yes, we did, Captain Bora replied. And we did it the human way with kinetic weapons and determination. What about the people they captured, my wife and children? We're searching for them now. If they're alive, we'll find them. Dr. Mi Kyung's medical teams worked quickly to treat the survivors. Most were weak from hiding underground for days, but they were alive and would recover. The rescue operation continued for hours as human teams searched every part of the colony for survivors. 3 days after the battle, New Busan colony was alive with activity again. Human ships filled the orbital space where Vectar vessels had once floated. Rescue shuttles moved constantly between the ships and the planet's surface, bringing supplies down and taking survivors up for medical treatment. Admiral Hyunwoo stood in the temporary command center that had been set up in the colony's main building. Through the windows, he could see human engineers working to repair the damage caused by the alien occupation. The sight filled him with pride and sadness at the same time. Admiral, we've completed the prisoner rescue operations, reported Marine Commander Jae Sung. Final count is 3,047 humans recovered alive. What about casualties? We lost 812 colonists in the initial attack. Another 233 died during the occupation. But sir, considering what these aliens did to other species, our losses were remarkably light. Hyunwoo nodded grimly. Every loss was too many, but it could have been much worse. What's the status on the survivors who were experimented on? Dr. Mi Kyung looked up from her medical reports. Most of them will make full recoveries. The Vectar experiments were designed to make humans more compliant, not to cause permanent damage. We can reverse most of the effects with proper treatment, and the mental effects? That will take longer. Many of the survivors have trauma from watching their friends and family taken by the aliens, but they're strong people, Admiral. They'll heal. Engineer So Young entered the command center looking much healthier than he had when they first rescued him. Admiral, I wanted to personally thank you for keeping your promise. You brought our people home. It's what humans do, So Young. We don't leave our people behind. There's something else, sir. Something I think you need to know about the Vectar. Hyunwoo turned his full attention to the engineer. What is it? During the occupation, I overheard some of their communications. The Vectar weren't just conquering us for slaves or resources. They were testing us. Testing us for what? To see if humans would be suitable for something they called the Deep Projects. From what I could understand, they've been looking for a species with certain characteristics: intelligence, adaptability, and what they called kinetic thinking. Dr. Mi Kyung looked up from her medical equipment. Kinetic thinking? What does that mean? I think it means our tendency to solve problems with physical action rather than just energy manipulation. Most species they've conquered think in terms of energy fields and exotic technology, but humans think in terms of hit it with something heavy until it stops being a problem. Admiral Hyunwoo felt a chill run down his spine. Are you saying they specifically targeted humans? I think so, sir. New Busan wasn't chosen randomly. It's a mining colony with heavy equipment and kinetic manufacturing. They wanted to see how humans would react to their energy-draining weapons. They picked the wrong test subjects, said Captain Bora, who had just entered the command center. Instead of learning how to defeat us, they taught us how to defeat them. Chief Engineer Dongmin was working at a computer terminal, analyzing captured Vectar technology. Admiral, you need to see this. I've been studying their ship fragments, and I think I understand why they were so interested in humans. Show me. Dongmin activated a holographic display showing the internal structure of a Vectar ship. Their technology is incredibly advanced in some ways, but incredibly limited in others. Everything they build is designed around energy manipulation. They can absorb, redirect, and control energy in ways we never imagined. But they've completely abandoned physical engineering. Look at this hull structure. It's designed to flex and adapt to energy attacks, but it has almost no resistance to physical impact. A human engineer from 100 years ago could have told them how to reinforce it. Dr. Mi-kyung studied the display. It's like they evolved beyond physical weapons so completely that they forgot why those weapons existed in the first place. Exactly. And now I think I know why they were interested in humans. We still understand both kinds of technology. We use energy weapons when they're appropriate, and kinetic weapons when they're better. We are the only species in the galaxy that hasn't specialized into one or the other. Admiral Hyunwoo realized the implications. They wanted to study us to learn how to defend against kinetic weapons. But instead, we showed them that some problems can't be solved by absorbing energy. Sometimes you need to punch a hole in something and let physics do the rest. Captain Taeho entered the command center with an intelligence report. Admiral, we've decoded more of their communications. The Vectar Empire is much larger than we thought. This was just one small fleet. How large? Best estimate is several thousand ships spread across multiple star systems. But sir, here's the important part. They've never encountered kinetic warfare before. Every species they've conquered used energy weapons exclusively. What does that mean for us? Lieutenant Wu Jin, who had been listening to the conversation, spoke up. It means we have a huge tactical advantage, but only until they adapt their technology to defend against kinetic weapons. Engineer Dongmin nodded. Exactly. Right now, their entire military doctrine is based on energy absorption and redirection. They're completely vulnerable to physical weapons, but that won't last forever. Admiral Hyunwoo walked to the window and looked out at the repair work continuing across the colony. How long do you think we have before they develop defenses? Depends on how fast they can redesign their biotechnology. Maybe months, maybe years. But eventually they'll figure out how to defend against railguns and missiles. Dr. Mi-kyung was studying the biological samples they had recovered from destroyed Vectar ships. There's something else. Their biotechnology is incredibly sophisticated, but it's also incredibly specialized. It might take them longer to adapt than we think. Why? Because they've been using the same basic designs for thousands of years. Their ships aren't just built, they're grown. Changing the fundamental structure might require them to completely regrow their entire fleet. So Young looked up from the reports he had been reading. Admiral, there's something else the survivors told me. The Vectar talked about other species. They're planning to conquer. They have a list of targets and several human colonies are on it. Which colonies? New Seoul, Port Incheon, and the mining stations around Titan. All places with large populations and heavy industry. Captain Bora stepped forward. Admiral, we need to warn those colonies and help them prepare defenses. Already on it. I've sent fast courier ships to all human colonies with warnings and defensive plans. But that's not enough. What do you mean, sir? Hyunwoo turned back to face the group. The Vectar Empire has been conquering species for thousands of years. They've grown powerful by absorbing the technology and resources of their victims. If we just defend our colonies, eventually they'll develop counters to our weapons. Engineer Dongmin understood immediately. You're talking about taking the fight to them. I'm talking about ending this threat permanently. The Vectar think they can test us, conquer us, and experiment on us. They need to learn that humans don't just defend, we attack. Dr. Mi-kyung looked concerned. Admiral, their empire is enormous. We don't have enough ships to fight thousands of Vectar vessels. We don't need to fight all of them. We just need to hit them hard enough and fast enough that they decide humans are too dangerous to bother with. Lieutenant Wu Jin smiled grimly. A demonstration. Show them what happens when they threaten human families. Exactly. But first, we need to prepare. Dongmin, I want you to design kinetic weapons specifically for fighting Vectar bioships. Use everything we learned from this battle. Yes, sir. I have some ideas about specialized ammunition that could be even more effective. Mi-kyung, study their biological systems. Find weaknesses we can exploit. If their ships are partially alive, they might have biological vulnerabilities. I'll start immediately, Admiral. Taeho, I want you to take a stealth ship and scout their territory. We need to know where their main bases are and how their empire is organized. Consider it done, sir. As the meeting continued, plans began to form for humanity's response to the Vectar threat. But the core strategy was simple. Hit them so hard they never wanted to fight humans again. Engineer So Young listened to the planning with growing amazement. A few days ago, he had been hiding in underground tunnels, waiting to die. Now he was listening to humans plan to attack an empire that had conquered most of the galaxy. Admiral, he said during a break in the planning, are we really going to attack an enemy that destroyed dozens of civilizations? So Young, they made two mistakes when they attacked New Busan. First, they underestimated human weapons technology. Second, they threatened human families. I don't understand the second one, sir. Captain Bo-Ra answered for the Admiral. So Young, most species in the galaxy fight for territory, resources, or political control. Humans fight for each other. When the Vectar took your wife and children, they didn't just attack you. They attacked every human who has a family. And when humans get angry about their families, added Lieutenant Wu Jin, they don't just fight back. They fight until the threat is completely eliminated. So Young looked around at the determined faces of the human off.